Hi guys, it's Wombat, and today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm in this video going to go through the different maps I use in my big map setup and explain where the different maps are on the map and also how big they are, because a lot of people have been asking me what exactly is that map, where is it located, etc. So I was thinking that I would go through all of that for you and show you what it looks like. And to start with, this map is just SCS own map and all the 4 map DLCs, and I'm not going to take credit for doing 84.66% of the exploring here. I downloaded a profile with most of these done. The only exception was Italy, which I started doing, and I think I did 8% or possibly 2 before I just gave up. I do not have time to do that kind of exploring anymore. Especially nowadays, since on the Italian map you have to go on every single road in both directions and in the intersections on the off ramps and on ramps. You have to do them all, otherwise you won't get creds for it. You won't have that part of the map or the road added to whatever you have explored. So it's really difficult. So if anyone feels like doing a 100% exploration of the SCS map and all the 4 map DLCs and send that profile to me, thank you very much. I would really appreciate it. It's nice to have a map like that because it makes it a lot easier to show people exactly what an add-on map add to the game. So first off is the star of the game, Promods, and as you can see, Promods, it's really huge, and you go from having explored 84.66% of the map to only 35.5%. That's how big Promods is. It is, ignore Italy there. I haven't gone through it, as I said earlier, but for the rest of it, it's all Promods. It's absolutely stunning when you see it like this, how big that map mod is. Absolutely fantastic. The next one is Poland rebuilding, and unfortunately I can't show you only Poland rebuilding because Poland you can't run Poland without having Promods, so I have to show it to you together with Promods, unfortunately. And the same goes for Emden and Scandinavia, which I will do next. But with Poland and Promods, you go from having 35.5% to only 34.76% explored. So you might think that Poland rebuilding doesn't add much, but actually it does, because it do replace a lot of what Promods have done in Poland. So you have to take into consideration that not only does Poland add about 1%, but it is actually, I would estimate it to perhaps 2%, but 1% is not visible, since I have to show both Promods and Poland at the same time. Then we have Emden, and you know, this map mod is just one town, that town there, Emden. So unsurprisingly, you go from having explored 35.53% of the map with Promods to 35.3% sorry, 35.5% of the map with Promods and Emden. So it's just 0.03% of the map that's city. But of course, it's what you could expect, and at least now you got the chance to see exactly where Emden is. Then we have the last one that requires Promods to be loaded together with it for the map to actually start. The Scandinavia Mod is this part north of Bergen, a beautiful road, it really is, and you definitely need to try that out. But it's also in Denmark. Let's see if we can find it there. Just north of Copenhagen you have Havnebyen in Denmark. I think there's a city in Sweden as well, but I can't really remember which one that is, and if there is, I do apologize for not pointing that out. Anyway, that's the Scandinavia Mod, and Scandinavia together with Promods gives you 35.3% of the map discovered. So what Scandinavia Mod does is just add another 0.23% to the map. So the rest of the maps now do not require Promods to be loaded. So the first one here is Rusmap, and with Rusmap installed you go from having discovered or explored 84.66% to just 67.75% of the map. So it's fairly big. I'm a little surprised myself. I've never done this before and just loaded Rusmap on top of the standard map mods. So I had a feeling it was bigger than it actually is, but I mean it's still big, but it's not as huge as I expected it to be. And here's the southern region. As you can see, it's completely separated from the SCS maps because you need Rusmap in between to connect to the standard maps and the DLCs. And it gives you, once it's installed, 77.83% explored instead of the original 84.66. So again, a big map, but only half as big as Rusmap. And then we have the Great Steppe map, located even further to the east and a lot smaller, as you can see, but boy is this map great anyway. And as you can see, it brings the explored percentage down to only 82.42%, so it's an additional 2% compared to the standard maps. And then we have the Romania extended map, which adds another 8% unexplored areas to the map. Bear in mind that this is the standard version, not the Promods version, which is slightly bigger actually than the other one. So there is a little it is a little different from the Promods version, but still you get a good feel for what the map looks like. And then we have the Turkey map version 2.0, which we are using in the big map setup, and as you can see, it is capable of connecting by itself to the standard maps, but once you add in Promods there, you break it and it won't load. So it's only thanks to Arias Romania Extended that we are able to load version 2.0 in the Promods setup. And also the Project Balkans version is just version 1.45, so this version 2.0 isn't compatible with Project Balkans either. Next one is ROS 6.0, and as you can see, you have a couple of cities or places on the standard maps that is added by Ross, as well as the giant map as you already know it. Again, this is a giant map. It adds some 20% almost to the unexplored areas. So it's a giant map. And then finally, for the last one for the European continent, Paris. And Paris is obviously just like Emden, a city, so it doesn't change much. It gives you 0.1% of the unexplored areas. So it isn't big, but it's very, very beautiful. And actually, I wish someone could do the same thing to Berlin, London, Copenhagen, other big cities around Europe, because it's really nice to come to Paris and see the Eiffel Tower and drive or haul through parts of Paris that you actually recognize, not just landmarks, but even the feeling of the streets in the cities. It's just great. And then it's time to leave Europe and have a look at the maps from other places around the world. And the first one of them is the PJ Indo map, which gives you a surprisingly huge amount of unexplored areas, 9%. So it's a lot bigger than I thought it would be. And then we have a really enormous map, and that is the EAA map. So unexplored, with only Italia not explored yet. You had 84.6%. With EAA you're down to 54.1%. So it's huge, as you can see. And both this map and the next one, China, you'll see that they are located a little differently now when you load them as separate files than if you load both of them at the same time. It's the nature of map mods, I guess. Speaking of China, there is a newer version than the one I'm gonna show you here now, but this is the version that we used in the big map setup, so that's why I'm showing you this one. I will start working on trying to get the newer version to work with the big map combo, but right now this is what we have in the big map setup. So it's pretty huge anyway, but of course the newer version is even bigger. And then finally the black sheep of the family, the map Island. It's called the Island. It's part of the big map setup, but now that we are looking at it, I want to say a couple of things about it. It turns out you can't haul anything to or from the island. Cargoes aren't working, and I double checked it by loading it on a separate profile. Still doesn't work. So there's a problem with the mod itself. It's not the order of the maps in my setup that isn't working, it is the map itself. So you can go there and enjoy the views, but it can't really be used for anything other than that at the moment. And that's the quick tour of the setup. But before we go, I have loaded Promods one more time, and this time together with Project Balkans. You can't have Project Balkans separately from Promods. You need to have Promods to be able to load Balkans. And the reason I'm showing you Balkans is that some of you have been asking about Balkans, wondering why it isn't added, or if it's possible to run Turkey together with Balkans. in the new setup, and it isn't possible, unfortunately, but when you look at it, I don't see that as a big loss anyway. It adds 0.01% to the setup, so it's basically as big as Emden. That's what you're losing. Of course it is bigger than that, but Promods is, how should we say it, eating parts of what Balkans includes. So yeah, but there you have them. There's all the 16 map mods and number 17 Project Balkans that can't make it into the setup. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.